Well, good morning. Welcome. We're here for our weekly board session. It's Wednesday, January 16th, 2019. We're in the Senator Hearing Room here at 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. And if you will join us, we always start our sessions with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Love saying that every Wednesday morning, sometimes more than once a week. We got to say it at the chamber on Monday as well. So, remember the school days when we used to say that every day? Wow. Okay, we're gonna, before we go into public comment, I'm gonna ask Jane, our legal counsel, to just make a couple of comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Public comment is limited to matters of general county concern. Members of the public are not permitted under our rules to talk about specific land use cases during public comment.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. First on public comment is David Bean. David, welcome.
Thank you.
You don't have your, where's your jacket?
I ordered it at the Capitol.
All right. Good morning, David.
Commissioners, I think we need to have a system for the special needs population can work at the safe fair. The ones, cause a lot of them can't work there because some of them can't read and write. And I think we need to look at the policy on that to get them on some boards for the county fair and serve on that. Because a lot of them are losing the foster homes and group homes. And I think it would be good for Marion County be ambassador for that.
Okay. Well, and you've got your famous jacket. You're almost that ambassador, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And I wear that at the Capitol and wear it in my meetings.
Good. Well.
And I think we need to look at that and for this session for the Marion County would have somebody there, the commissioners, show them what's out there for them that can do out there like I do.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
For this year.
I appreciate all you do for us, David. Thank you. Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Next under public comment, I have George and Patty Harris.
Since it's a land use regarding that you have on your agenda, I don't believe we can speak since legal counsel mentioned that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, but thank you for being here. Appreciate it. We're going to go into our consent calendar. And Commissioner, I believe it's your turn this week.
Okay.
So you're just going to make a motion to move the consent calendar.
Okay. I'll make a motion to move the consent calendar under Board of Commissioners, approve an order appointing Cullen Willis as director and Carrie Muller as director's designee to Willamette Valley Community Health LLC. Public Works schedule the adoption of an ordinance for January 23rd, 2019, amending urban and rural zone codes. Tax Office approve an order for a property tax refund in the amount of $36,337.64 to Village East LLC.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Who's Colm Willis?
Yeah, what's that about?
Some new guy.
Commissioner. You're getting appointed to all kinds of things since you've been here. Watch out. Huh? All right, we have a motion, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, consent calendar's done. First item under action is under Health and Human Services to consider an order approving directors designees to authorize emergency actions in the Community Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities Program. And I don't see Sydney here, but I see a couple of other people that are going to help us today.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. For the record, Bruce Armstrong, Senior Assistant Legal Counsel. I'm here with Anne Marie Banfield. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Anne Marie Banfield, Program Manager for Acute and Forensic Behavioral Health.
Anne Marie and Bruce, welcome.
Thank you. We thought we'd handle this. Anne Marie has the experience dealing with these issues. Just for background, Marion County operates a community mental health program, which is established by statute. It can be contracted out, but we have always operated that program on our own. And by statute, the director of the community mental health program has authority to direct certain custodies to keep individuals safe who are suffering from a serious mental illness. But obviously, the director can only handle that so much, so we have to have, the statute allows the director to designate other individuals. And we as a county have, as a practice and by statute, have had this matter come before the board so that the director's designees are established by the board and listed out. And what we're here today is to update the list of directors' designees who have the authority to take custody of individuals with serious mental illness. But beyond that, I'll have Anne Marie explain the details on what they're dealing with on the street.
Good morning. So with the director's custody, we are able to, if somebody has been evaluated by one of our qualified mental health professionals and found dangerous to themselves or others imminently, they must have imminent danger and they must have a mental illness. We can direct law enforcement to take them into custody, take them to the nearest holding facility. We're very fortunate. We have Salem Hospital that is a holding facility, which happens to be just a block and a half from my building. And we're able to have them taken to where they can get further care and evaluation. We also go out to Silverton Hospital and Staten Hospital to provide that service to the smaller hospitals who are not hold facilities as well. At the Crisis Center, we only give the designation to persons who have at least 1 year of experience post-master's degree. They also have to have at least 6 months experience in the Crisis Center to be eligible for this designation. They also have to pass a test so that they know what the law says and when it can be used.
And there's a serious need for it's a 24-hour need. It's
It is a 24-hour need, yes.
8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So what we have, what has been drafted for the board's approval is an order that lists out everyone within the community mental health program who is authorized to act as a director's designee. And with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Chair Cameron, if
Yes,
I could, Bruce,
Commissioner.
I heard you say, and I'm just trying to recall, I do not recall doing this in the past. I'm sure we have. At the top of your head, do you know when the last we saw this was?
Well, last I saw was 2015, and I believe they've been done periodically, but what hasn't been done is removing some old designations. I think there were some additional ones where individuals were added, but this is like a housekeeping matter where we've cleaned it up.
Well, I know it is. That's my concern, because that's pretty important power, and if we're wrong and find somebody wasn't technically authorized, looks like you can get in a lot of trouble. My point in bringing it up is to make sure that as new people are brought on, they're immediately clear. I don't want that to ever be a question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Commissioner, go ahead. Sure.
How many of these holds have been done over the last, say, 6 months? And
I'd say over the last 6 months, I think we've done it 3 times. We don't use it very frequently, but it is an important tool for us to be able to use when we have somebody who is imminently at risk in our office or in one of the, especially in the local hospitals who don't have that holding status.
And these people were at our crisis center?
Yes, one of the things that the law allows is for the director to determine where and how this will be used, and every county does it differently. But in our county, we use it at our crisis center, and we use it at the 2 hospitals, but we don't, and we also are partners who are in the mobile crisis teams who ride with law enforcement officers also have the designation, but for the most part, that's the only places where we use them.
And community-wide, I don't know if you can speak to the numbers where police affect custody, or in general
So
terms.
police officers are able to do a police officer custody, and I actually cannot give you numbers because that is not tracked.
But it's
high.
It's very high.
We have, our emergency room receives anywhere from probably 5 to 15 a day, depending on the day of the week and the time of year.
And that's a different
It's a different custody, yes.
custody than this emergency hold.
correct.
Okay. And in these cases, these people were all at healthcare facilities. So they were diagnosed prior to.
They met the initial evaluation need. So they met the initial that they had a mental illness and they were in imminent risk.
You good?
Yep.
Okay, Chair Cameron, I would make a motion, we do approve the order approving directors designees to authorize emergency actions in the community mental health and developmental disabilities program.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Just a point that I think Commissioner Brentano made that point, that there's 24 names on here, and I'm sure those names change often, so we need to set up some sort of a system to make sure that when one of these names changes, that we get it back here to change the board order, right? I mean, from a legal standpoint, Bruce, that,
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know.
Mr. Chair.
Who's gonna do that? Who's gonna have that tickler? Is that gonna be Health Department?
Yes, I think we're going to set it up for a regular check-in and update.
Is that monthly or quarterly or? how
Quarterly would be good.
Okay, so how's that gonna, I'm just, do we have a system set up? Maybe we can come back to a management update with this subject on how that system's gonna be ticklered.
Absolutely.
What's tickler fun?
I don't know, you go there.
Yeah, you go there. I'm not gonna tickle you. Yeah. So that, I think that would be important.
I think that sounds great.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, thank you very
Thank you.
much. That's called a tickler file.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Next up today is consider approval of an order appointing Angelica Pomelino Lopez and reappointing Carrie Fitzsimmons, Wendy Holohan, Ray Wilson to the local alcohol and drug planning committee with terms ending January 31st, 2021. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. A little change of plans. I am the only one here for Local Alcohol and Drug Planning Committee. Due to illnesses, we had a couple of reappointments that were going to be attending this morning and weren't able to. So for the record, I'm Lisa Miller. I'm the Volunteer Services Coordinator with Marion County. Part of my role is recruiting and onboarding new volunteer advisory board members. So that's why I'm here this morning, to introduce you to the individuals that are not here who are being appointed and reappointed. So this morning for our Local Alcohol and Drug Planning Committee, we have 3 reappointments and 1 brand new member who is coming on board. Angelica Palomino Lopez is one of our new members who's being put forward as a new appointee. And then Carrie Fitzsimmons, Wendy Holohan, and Ray Wilson are all returning appointments for the Local Alcohol and Drug Planning Committee. LADPC serves the public interest by participating with the Marion County Health Department in planning local programs for the prevention of alcohol and other drug abuse and the treatment and rehabilitation of persons with alcohol and drug problems. So at this time, I would usually give you an opportunity to ask any questions and get to know the members a little bit, but that's not going to happen.
So I assume Angelica was the one that was
Angelica
ill
was
today.
going to attend, and she's ill today. And Ray Wilson as well. He is the chair of the committee, and he was unable to attend at the last minute as well.
Okay.
Well, if I could, I know Ray and Carrie very well, and I know they're serious about it. And I hope I don't be embarrassed for asking, but in Angelica's application, she talks about representing FBB, and I can't figure out what that is. Do you know?
Family building blocks.
Oh, wonderful.
Good.
Okay. It's a good and important organization in our community.
That's good. That was an easy question I could answer.
Okay. That's all I have. I'm happy these people are there and willing to help.
Okay. And we know Carrie because we have meetings in her restaurant once a month out at the
State.
Covered Bridge Cafe.
That's
Right.
true. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Now's program at Salem Hospital? That's in
You have to ask me a hard one.
Angelica's?
I can't even guess.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Can definitely find out for you.
It's something in reference to continue growing a stronger community, whatever that is. We like that.
Oh. Wait a minute, when your health director's ill, you got problems.
I know. Good morning, I'm Carrie Moeller, for the record. I'm the administrator for the Health and Human Services Department.
Pull up, Mike, yeah.
For the next person.
The LADPC is doing some work right now around addressing the opiate problems in our community, so they're working with some folks at Salem Hospital and a contingent of other interested community partners to address mothers who have opiate problems, and so NOWS is a neonatal program for moms.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Would you like to make a motion?
Sorry. yeah.
No, that's okay. I'm in no hurry.
I move that we approve the order appointing Angelica Palomino Lopez and reappointing Carrie Fisk Sessoms, Wendy Holohan, and Ray Wilson to the local Alcohol and Drug Planning Committee with terms ending January 31st, 2021.
Second.
Okay, a motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much, Lisa, for the work, and Carrie, thanks for being here. The next is to consider approval of reappointing Reverend Dr. Deborah Patterson to the Intellectual and Developmental Disability Advisory Committee with a term ending December 31st, 2022. And welcome, Dr. Patterson. Good to see you.
Nice to be here, thank you.
Yeah.
So again, I'm here to introduce Reverend Dr. Deborah Patterson. She is here for a reappointment for the Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Advisory Committee. The committee was established in accordance with OAR 411-320-003. They provide oversight with Marion County Community Development Disabilities Program. And thankfully, Dr. Patterson was available to attend this morning, so she's here to introduce herself and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for having me here today. You have my materials, and I know I've spoken here a couple of times before, so I'm grateful to you for this opportunity to be considered. 20 years ago, we adopted a young child who was profoundly intellectually and developmentally disabled, but thanks to good schools, great teachers, and wonderful services, she's now employed and contributing back to the community as a teacher's helper at the YMCA, which you heard about last year when she was here speaking at the March Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. So thank you so much for all that you do to support folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and I would be honored to continue to serve in this capacity if reappointed.
Thank you, Deb, for all you do and serving on the Health Advisory Committee as well. So we really appreciate that. I know Carrie does as well. Any questions, commissioners?
Oh, I want to put her on the spot just a little bit. I'd like to hear, since you're being reappointed, you've served there and done great things, but I would like to know your impressions after being there of what's good, what's bad, what we should know about and could do more of. Anything jump at you?
Yeah, absolutely. Your staff that you have hired to head the Health and Human Services Department, Carrie Muller, Cindy Nestor, everybody else there is amazing. They work very, very hard with growing numbers of people. The state legislature continues to have to grapple with difficult decisions around funding. Their funding issues are always pressing. Awareness is a big issue when people can't always speak for themselves and when families are stretched to the absolute max on trying to do anything beyond just caring for their loved ones. And so trying to identify new advisory committee members is difficult because of those time constraints and communication issues. I think those are, and one other thing I would add is I believe that there's There is a real challenge around the Lane versus Brown lawsuit, which mandates that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities are to find competitive employment in the community. That's difficult without some funding for employers to be able to have some incentives to hire folks, even though the records show, the data shows that these folks are very committed, they show up on time, they work really hard, and they don't leave. So, I mean, they don't take better opportunities because they love what they do when they're appreciated. So those are some of the challenges facing the committee.
I don't think it's the same, but is it with structured workplace? Does that come into that particular case? Is that where that came from?
That's exactly right, yeah.
See, that's a horrible thing. I've got
That's a-
personal examples of where they've taken people that were doing what they wanted and happy
Yeah.
and making a little money, being with friends, something, and left them with no jobs at all. So the few that have some
Yeah.
capacity could get jobs. I'm sorry, not happy
You're
with
right,
that
Commissioner,
one.
that issue comes up on a regular basis at our committee meetings. So thank you for noticing that. There are some bumps in the road that really have to be worked out on that issue. Thank you.
I'm going to say one more thing. Another example to me of a state agency getting rid of doing service to keep their budgets and personnel fine, and they go on merrily, but the people they're supposed to serve get left.
All right. So thank you for all you do. I know you have a personal heart for this issue as well. Thank you for inviting us earlier to be on your TV program. I don't know if it continues, but that was really a wonderful opportunity to share some good information.
Well, it looks like I get to make a motion. I'm happy I move that we do approve the order reappointing the Reverend Dr. Deborah Patterson to the Intellectual Developmental Disabilities Advisory Committee with a term ending December 31st, 2022.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Deb.
you.
Good to see
Really,
you,
thank
as
you.
always. Lisa, thank you for your work.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Under Public Works, receive and consider appeal of the hearings officer's second remand decision approving conditional use CU 17-020 Brush Creek Solar LLC and Klopfenstein. Joe, welcome.
Morning, Commissioners. For the record, Joe Fenimore. This item before you today is a conditional use to establish a solar power generating facility on a 12-acre portion of a 14.5-acre parcel in an EFU zone located in Seagull Springs Road, Northeast, Silverton. The planning director originally approved the request. That decision was appealed to the hearings officer, who, after conducting a public hearing, issued a decision in October 2017 denying the request. The applicant then appealed that decision to Marion County Board of Commissioners, who remanded the matter back to the hearings officer for another hearing to consider additional evidence and testimony. On February 8, 2018, the hearings officer issued a remanded decision that approved the request. That decision was appealed to the board by opponents, and on February 28, 2018, the board denied that appeal and adopted the hearings officer's decision as its own. The board decision was then appealed to the Oregon Land Use Board of Appeals, and on September 26, 2018, LUBA issued an order remanding the matter back to the county. The reasons for the remand were to determine whether police services are a rural service under Marion County Code, and if so, whether adequate police services are available to the property. Also to determine whether the solar array will create unnecessary negative impacts on agricultural operations on any portion of the subject property not occupied by the solar array, and whether it would preclude more than 12 acres from use as a commercial agricultural enterprise. The board sent the matter back to the hearings officer to conduct a public hearing limited to the issues that were the basis of LUBA's remand. On November 15th, the hearings officer conducted a public hearing where additional testimony and evidence was presented. After considering all the evidence and testimony in the record, the hearings officer on December 21st issued a decision approving the request. On January 4th, that decision was appealed to the board, and that is the matter before you today. In the appeal, the appellant claims the hearings officer erred in concluding that the facility will not preclude more than 12 acres from use as a commercial agricultural enterprise. It is first argued that the hearings officer misinterpreted the ordinance by only considering the land that is currently being farmed when determining whether it's being precluded. And secondly, argues that the hearings officer states that it is not impossible that some small area under cultivation might be left outside the facility boundary, but that would be de minimis amount. The applicant argues that the term de minimis means that a small strip of land would be left out, and therefore the criterion in the code is not met. The appellant also continues to argue that there is not adequate evidence in the record that police service is available to serve the use. The board has the options of accepting the appeal, remanding the matter back to the hearings officer, accept the appeal and schedule a de novo hearing with a suggested hearing date of January 30th, 2019 or later, accept the appeal and schedule a public hearing limited to the issues that were the basis for the LUBA remand, once again a suggested hearing date of January 30th or later, deny the appeal and uphold the hearings officer's decision approving the request. Staff recommends option 4. The board deny the appeal and uphold the hearings officer's decision. I'll be happy to try and answer any questions.
Thank you, Joe. Questions?
Joe, the original application was submitted before the board made the decision not to accept new applications for solar arrays. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And how many applications are still in the pipeline?
This is the last one.
This is the last one?
Yes.
Okay. And the board already made a decision adopting the hearings officer's decision approving the request. And that was the decision that was appealed to LUBA. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Any questions?
More comments. We've seen this several times. I pretty well can, on record, I'm not a great fan, or, no, it isn't, that isn't even my deal. I'm trying to make sure that where we cite these, it doesn't take up good farmland or interfere. But Commissioner was getting at the fact these were approved under prior rules before the problem became into focus. We've approved others. I don't see anything that changes. In fact, just a comment that the last two arguments to me are so very weak. A small amount of ground left out in the system and police adequacy. To rule on that, we'd have to say that our police aren't adequate anywhere in Marion County, and I'm not going to say that, certainly. So I'm going to be supporting the recommendation.
Comments?
I just wanted, I think it's important that people can rely on the decisions that the board makes and that we don't kind of pull the rug out from under them. So when I looked through this, it didn't look like there was new information. Looks like the information's pretty much the same as when the board made its original decision, and the rules were what they were when the board made that decision. So I'm going to be supporting your recommendation as well. I don't think it helps us to change things midstream.
Okay. Well, the only thing I would say is the fact that, I'm going to echo Commissioner Brentano's thought, is that these things, we don't want these things taking up prime irrigated farmland. And however, we are operating under a set of rules that were there at that time, and we put I said moratorium.
It's
I
not.
can't use the word moratorium. It's a hold, I guess, permanently until we reverse that decision, right, Joe?
Permanently, indefinitely.
And permanently, indefinitely, whatever that word is, a further one. So this is the last one that we will be seeing before us until that hold is lifted or changed or whatever. And I know, I don't want to go too far here, but I know we're waiting for the state rules to finalize what we're going to help us make a decision as to what we'll do in the future. But I'm going to have to support your recommendation under this particular situation because of the rules that we're operating under this particular situation. So I will accept a motion unless there's further questions or discussions.
Is it my
Council, are we
motion?
good?
Yes, I just want to clarify. My understanding is that the board repealed the solar ordinance, so it's not a hold, it just, we don't have an ordinance on it anymore.
Okay, you just give me the right word to use. So what is it called?
Well, we don't currently have an ordinance on allowing solar arrays, so we repealed it.
It's not allowed.
Yeah, it's not allowed.
Right. Okay. You want to make a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the recommendation of Public Works.
Yeah, I think if you read
Just
it,
read number 4 here, right?
no. Yes.
That we deny the appeal and uphold the hearings officer decision approving the request.
And I'll second that.
Right. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Thanks, Joe. So that completes our action items for today. Commissioner, you want to read the calendar of where we're going to be over the next week?
Calendar of
Appreciate
upcoming
you doing
events.
Yep.
On January 16th at 9 o'clock in the morning, we have board session, which is right now.
New deal.
At 3:30 this afternoon, we will be at the Marion County Juvenile Detention Facility, taking a tour there. And that's located at the Juvenile Detention Center at 2970 Center Street Northeast in Salem. On January 17th at 8 o'clock in the morning, we will be meeting with the City of Salem, Marion County meeting, located at the Sassy Onion, 1244 State Street in Salem. On January 21st at 8 in the morning, all day, we will be closed in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That's an important holiday. On January 22nd at 9 in the morning, we will have a Community Leaders Roundtable with Congressman Kurt Schrader, located at the Shemeketa Center for Business and Industry in room 102. That's 626 High Street Northeast here in Salem. On January 22nd at 1:30 in the afternoon, we will have calendar review in the Silverton Conference Room of this building. On January 22nd at 2 o'clock, Board of Commissioners and the Chief Administrative Officer will have a meeting and a possible executive session if needed. They'll be located in the Silverton Conference Room of this building. On January 23rd at 9 in the morning, we will have board session in this room. And on January 23rd at 11:30, we will be attending the City of Salem State of the City at the Salem Convention Center, located at 200 Commercial Street Southeast here in Salem.
Good. Busy week. Any things about the week? Went by fast.
Well, I'm interested in the state of the city. We'll get a chance to have breakfast with the mayor and maybe get a little preview.
Tomorrow, right? Yeah.
And then Congressman Schrader coming to talk about the impasse in Washington. I don't know what I could just about make up what he'll say.
Yeah.
But how do you defend any of it?
Right.
That's all.
That's sad. Yeah. I don't know. Thankfully, we just get to keep going and working here and getting stuff done, right? Of course, John's here, so he keeps us from doing anything. He holds such strict reins on everything, you know? John, good to see you this morning, by the way. I only heard one side comment about my job I did today. Something about handing the new guy the calendar or something.
It's supposed to be the chair's job.
That's the old regime. This is a new deal.
This is the new way. Things are changing around here.
Yeah, they sure are.
Ever forward.
So, Mr. Chair, when Commissioner Brentano becomes chair, is he going to have you?
It's up to the chair.
I see.
Assign it to anybody they want to.
I see.
It may be you if you keep it up.
Yeah, you better. Hey, that's a good idea. Thank you. That's a good idea. The chief administrative officer, read the calendar.
Well, we're done being serious. We better close this
Okay.
meeting. That's me.
Commissioner, have anything to say about how your week went on the record?
It's a good week.
All right. Your first week.
My first week, yeah.
I read your newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's only like 4 sentences in there. It's mostly just video and radio and
Well,
whatever
I
else.
just know the week I had, and you must have had a really good week, because I heard you just really in a good mood most of the week, so
Yeah.
It was refreshing for me to hear you having such a good week. I'm not going to comment on
Yeah.
mine.
Well, I don't think he's really been involved in those health committees yet. That may change.
Yeah.
Well, you know, John made fun of me for this, but one of my favorite books of all time is Democracy in America by Alexis de Tocqueville.
Yeah.
And he writes about how important local government is. And if you want to understand America, you have to understand the townships and you have to understand the counties before you can understand the state or the federal government. And I think that's true.
So you got it all in 1 week? You understand the whole county?
That's not true at all.
I did have something happen I've been laughing about this week. I made a presentation to a Cub Scout troop about Marion County, so I had a lot of facts and figures and pretty enthused, but I'm thinking 10-year-olds don't much care about Marion County is the impression I got out of it. Fully half of them were asleep in about 3 minutes, and I thought I was pretty fascinating. They didn't laugh at my jokes. It only worries me that the next presentation I'll do like that is for our state of the county, and if I can't enthrall this group, I'm in trouble.
That's coming. It's
got
coming
my
up. You better-
attention.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't ask me for any good jokes, though.
No, but they did ask some questions. They did care, but it just wasn't. I thought I'd be a great teacher, and they'd be all excited when they were done. Probably want to run for commissioner, and boy, I didn't see it in their eyes. By the time I was gone, it was more like, thank God this is over.
Well, on that note, I think we will be over today. We will adjourn our meeting.